Hello.
Welcome to
the travel log.
Yes.
Days 8, 9, and 10, which ends the travel log, by the way. So if you've been following us, you know so far that it's been somewhat drama-filled and somewhat not. Anyways, day 8. That was
the day I believe we met our new friend who's on Facebook.
Let's see. We left. Well, day 10 was yesterday. Day 9 was the day that we shipped out. No, it was day 7 that we met our new friend, but after our video. So yeah, we made a new friend while we were in Lincoln. That's really cool. Let's see. Day 7. That would have been Sunday. So. Sunday night, I don't remember. Did we do pizza for dinner Sunday night? I think.
We did.
Oh no, that was the day that we ended up doing the family size thing with the fish and the chicken and that's right. So we went to Long John Silver's for our last time. That was about the only eventful thing that day. We did walk around town a bit and go to the Family Dollar, which, well, that's that. Anyways, nothing much else to report on that day. It was just another day of recuperation and rest. I smoked my last cigar on the trip there. And then I guess we can move on to day 9. Day 9 was the day that we were set to leave.
We did have pizza the night before, and that was the pastas.
Yeah,
and the pizza.
No. It was day 9 we ended up having that.
Yeah, and day 9 also had the bad pizza chunks.
Yes, we'll get to that. Anyways, on day 9 we ended up getting up, doing our breakfast thing, the free breakfast. All right. Then, sorry, text ended up throwing my mind off. After breakfast, we just killed time because we were waiting for Pizza Hut. Oh, wait, we also went to your doctor's that day. This is confusing me. Wait, that would have been Monday. We left on Tuesday. Oh, we'd already covered Sunday. Monday was day... I am totally out of it. Long trip. Anyways, day 8 was the day that we went to your doctor's. He looked you over, removed the bandages. You got to see the work that was done.
Actually, no. The thing is
oh yeah, you didn't get to see.
He basically bandages me up again, and I'm like.
He removed your tubes.
He removes the tubes, talks to us for a minute, sends us out, and before he sends us out, I'm like, you know, I'm constipated. He says, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you about that.
So I gave you something for that. So
yeah, and then we went to the pharmacist and
yep, and then we got that filled, and I thought I didn't have enough money, and I really shouldn't have spent as much as I did because you wanted one med, and then the pills to help you were really expensive, but I ended up buying all of them anyway. So I was only going to buy 3 and spend $4 less, but then I realized, wait, 60 of them is just, you know, $4 more. Why am I going to pay half the price for 3 of them? So I'll just buy them all.
3 days worth, yeah.
It wouldn't even have been 3 days worth. It would have been 3 days.
So anyways.
That was insane.
But anyways, the other thing is we got home and
then I removed your bandage so you could see what was going on.
And the doctor just wraps me up again and says, you know, so
keep him bound for 2 to 3 weeks. But she wants him to be free a bit.
Yes, I mean last night.
So we've decided at night you get the binding, in the day you're free. So. Anyways, then when we got back from there, we went by the Dollar General, picked up a few supplies for our trip, particularly snacks, because I wasn't sure if we'd be able to afford a meal the day that we got in. So we get back, and we decided to go to Pizza Hut, her treat this time, because she had some money, and we were going to do all-you-can-eat buffet. Well, they told us it was open until
4 o'clock.
All day. They said it was all day, all-you-can-eat. So we go to show up. No, we closed that at 2 o'clock. And we were waiting till 2:30 to go. So we turned around, went back to the apartment, and said, damn, that's no good. Guy lied to us. Anyways, we ended up deciding to go back, and we ordered some pasta and pizza, and she ordered the bacon there, which the bacon's usually good, but they obviously gave her scrap bacon. It was thick chunks and mostly fat, and didn't taste right.
Made the pizza nasty. So I just ate the pasta, you know, and the next morning I had the breakfast as usual, you know, and this one guy kept looking at me funny in the breakfast room because I went first to get afterwards. Aaron's like, don't forget to get your yogurt, dear.
Yeah, and so you got your yogurt first, and you got the strawberry and the strawberry banana, and then they went and there was only peach left. They could have gone and asked at the front desk for more if they wanted. But anyways, after dinner we basically called it a night because, well, not right away. We watched the baseball and stuff, and then next morning was day 9, and that was the day that we were anticipating leaving, so we ended up checking out on time, and we ended up calling our cab at like 10:30 and going to the airport. We actually got a business card for our cab driver from when she went back from the surgery, and we took his cab back. And I kind of woke him up, but he told us to call half an hour before, so he came and picked us up and took us up there. And
it was about $16 cheaper than what this damn computer program did. So, and then on top of it all, and I'm enjoying this part is fresh off surgery, I'm in pain, which I'm still in, and I go to United. We get our tickets. Lady's like, "Oh, you need a wheelchair." This guy gets me, and it pushes me through TSA. TSA tells me to go, and then my hat alarms them. Then the TSA agent sitting there, and she's like, "Is it okay if I pat you down?" And I'm like talking to her about those little body scanning machines. He says, "We wish we could have them, but there's a small airport." So she takes me, and she's like, "I'm just going to take her to her terminal." So she wheels me there. And I'm thinking, this is really cool. And
then I got through, and they searched one of the bags, you know, just because it was a random check, and that was cool and everything. And I felt bad because I have all this stuff because I got her bags, my bags, everything. They understood that too, and of course it just was like too much stuff to take care of all at once, and I felt overwhelmed. But managed to get to our seats, and we waited and waited.
Free coffee, too.
I noticed there was free coffee, and I noticed an old couple that was sitting and obviously waiting for the same plane as us. So I went and asked them if they wanted coffee, and I got them some cups of coffee. And it was horrible coffee, but heck, it works for some, you know. So anyways, we finally got our plane, took the rickety rust bucket out. Managed to get into Denver safely. And Moppy got to see out the plane when we were probably about 100 feet off the ground, and he started shaking and kind of panicking. And
anyways, what's funny about Denver is we get there, and I have a wheelchair there, and this guy's sitting there calling me honey and sweetie, and he gets me into the cart, and I got knocked down a bit. And I'm like, we get to these radios ahead for an electric cart that takes us about a mile across the airport. So I said, "Can we wait a little bit, sir, because my companion's not here, because I don't want him carrying the bags and trailing, you know."
And I would have walked all the way.
And then the guy was very polite. He waited. Next thing you know, Moppy's sitting there enjoying himself like.
He kept wanting to jump off the cart, though, but he seemed not to mind the cart too much. He was like, "Wee!"
And then, don't forget the thing when we got to our gate and stuff, we saw this lady with McDonald's, and then...
Yeah, and, oh, that was hilarious. Yeah, she comes over, and she's carrying one of these big, fluffy seat cover things, and I'm like, this woman's trouble. And she goes to sit down next to Rita, and then she gets up and walks away. I noticed the McDonald's. I'm like, thank goodness she's not eating that garbage next to us anyways. It stinks. I don't like McDonald's at all. So she goes walking off. Well, on the plane, lo and behold, guess who's supposed to sit next to me on the plane? Woman with her seat cover. And she's getting ready. I stand up and try to let her in, and she looks at the floor, and she says, oh no, I can't sit next to a dog. I got allergies. I can't sit next to a dog. And she starts trying to push people out of her way to walk back to the front of the plane who were also trying to get on. Finally, we don't see her anymore, and the plane's getting ready to take off. The stewardess comes up and says the person who's supposed to be sitting here is not going to be sitting here, so you got an extra seat here. And we said, okay, and off we went. And the guy next to me said, good job to my dog, because chased off this woman. It would have been uncomfortable. She was probably about 400 pounds, and she would have taken about a seat and a half a seat to each side of her. I hate to say it, I'm a big guy, and the guy that was in the other side was a big guy, and we would have been boxed out by her. But anyways, Rita gets off the plane, and as I'm getting off, I actually heard one of the stewardesses talking about how they had to throw her off because she was demanding that the person with the dog be thrown off the plane, or the dog be thrown off the plane. And they basically said, no, you're the one causing a stink. You're the one who gets off a plane. So apparently she won it, and they had to escort her off the plane. So I didn't know that until we got into Denver. Until we got into Seattle. So she got off the plane. She got thrown off the plane because of her attitude.
And then on top of this, as we're leaving, right, me and Aaron work together. We decided to look. There was like one guy with five guys with 5 wheelchairs, and one's like, I'm picking up 2, and we're just like.
And then neither of us were there.
Yeah,
because we just walked from Seattle. It was like, okay, let's go.
Yeah,
we were excited to be on the ground and home, and Moppy needed to move his legs. I need to move mine.
And then, what about the ATM incident?
And then this was hilarious with the ATM at Denver. I wanted to get some money for the hotel. And this is actually a long story. Wanted to get some money for the hotel. So I go up to the ATM, and I'm like, okay, I got enough money to pull out 50. Increments of 20. So, all right, I got more than $60. I could do that. So I put in the 60, and it says $3 transaction fee, and I'm like, that's going to be close. So I go and say, all right, let's try it. Insufficient funds. So I go and call on my phone to find out how much I have on my card. I have $62.97. It's a total of $63 to remove $60. So 3 cents kept me from drawing out money. So we get to Seattle, and I figure, okay, different airport, different machines, different company running them. They might have a cheaper rate. Nope, $3 still. So I end up leaving from there, and it's like, great. I guess I can't do that. So we end up getting our shuttle from the airport, and some people who were on the plane with us got on too, and we had a nice conversation with them. They'd parked their car at the Knight's Inn, and so they were just returning, and they'd stayed at the Knight's Inn before, so they just said, well, we're going to leave our car here, and they said, no problem. So apparently you can do that. Anyways, I had to pay the security deposit, and I didn't want to put it on my card because I didn't want to wait 5 to 10 days to get my money back. So they tell me there's an ATM across the street at the 7-Eleven, which I already knew. So I head over to the 7-Eleven. Now I walk in the door, and the guy, he's kind of looking at me, and then he sees Moppy. And the first thing he does is, no pets, no pets, no pets, and his arms go up. And I said, he's a service dog. He says, guide dogs only, no pets. And then he goes behind the counter, and he pulls out a baseball bat. And then he starts walking around the counter towards me. And the counter's like this. The ATM is over here. And he's back here. So he comes out this way and starts heading towards the ATM with the baseball bat. He's got 2 friends he was talking to at the counter. Anyways, I said, he's a service dog. Americans with Disability Act. You know, he's got to be able to go wherever I go. This is a violation of my rights. I said, all I want to do is use the ATM and get out of here. I'm not going to walk around your store. Anyways, he's still coming at me, and the 2 guys on the other side of the counter, they kind of rush past me, and they grab their buddy. And they say, let him use the ATM. So he let me use the ATM, and because I told him, go ahead and call the cops on me. Have the cops remove me. I just want to use the ATM. So I got to use the ATM. Of course, increments of 20 only. Now I'm sitting there, oh, great, $3 fee. It was probably a $2 fee because it allowed me to do it. So I end up getting my money, and I go back over to the hotel, and it's like, wow, what a traumatic experience at the 7-Eleven in Tukwila. So I go over to the hotel. I pay the security deposit. We get our room keys. Nice room.
Yeah, it was like a deluxe room with full kitchen.
Then we ate all our snacks for dinner because there was no money for
I
dinner.
passed out.
You left 2 packs of crackers, but otherwise you ate everything.
I
Well,
passed
you left
out.
3 packs of crackers and a cookie, which I ate a pack of crackers and a cookie for breakfast. And then we went and got actual breakfast in the front room.
Which was okay, and then some lady
Oh, their
threw
muffins
up.
were great, and then some woman threw up her orange juice.
So we finally decided to convince the driver, right, to take us to
The airport again, so we could take the airport shuttle.
the airport shuttle. So we get there, and then we walk up one floor.
We got so confused in there, but we figured out what we were doing, and we ended up taking the...
it was called the Link Light Rail. It was pretty cool.
It was awesome. It was good scenery and everything. It was probably the highlight of being in Seattle while we were there, other than meeting up with Rita's friend Muggs when we came out. And anyways, we get down to Union Station. We get out of Union Station. We went and found a place to eat. Oh, great restaurant at
Pioneer Square Market and Deli.
I had the hamburger, which was fantastic, with French fries, the best fries I think I've ever had anywhere. Rita ends up having 2 hot dogs, and she loved the hot dogs, and so I went up and ordered 4 more hot dogs, and I ended up having one with sauerkraut on it, and then I floored the other one with jalapenos and brown mustard and yellow mustard and hot sauce and everything I could cram on it. Onion sauerkraut.
And then I asked him, "How was your hot dogs?"
Awesome. In fact, there's other things I want to try on their menu. I actually look forward to maybe getting a chance to eat there
Which
again.
we'll probably be doing it soon. And we're not going to give you details of the next doctor's appointment, but
it's over in the Seattle region, so that'll be kind of cool.
I just thought it was totally awesome, and for all of you out there, since you've gotten this far before we fused the video,
Oh, we haven't finished.
I wanted to let these babies out so you can.
And this
see.
doesn't need a fusing either, because this is not your after video.
Okay.
We've done the videos as is.
Okay.
So, anyways, we end up waiting around in King Street Station for the train, and we sat, and Rita's binding was bothering her, so I went into the bathroom with her, the family bathroom, and removed her bandage, and waited for the train, and then we went and got some Gatorade at a place nearby. New flavor, it was blueberry pomegranate, and it was really good, and well, finally we ended up getting home. We talked to the people on the train. It was really cool.
There's one guy that pissed me off. He spoiled the conversation by talking politics, but he also spoiled the conversation because he was sitting there drinking a beer, which is unhealthy. And then
and his wife got so drunk she threw up, and it was
the
even
lady
dinner time.
behind me with the wine. You heard the clinking bottles. She was opening them.
No, it was the guy who was drinking beer. It was his wife that threw up.
Well, she wasn't
And
drinking
she was
anything.
drinking something out of a glass that looked clear. It could have been wine. It could have been vodka.
Anyways, the ladies behind me was drinking, opened up wine to share. And I'm sitting there thinking,
And we were told no alcohol on the train before, so except for what you buy on the train.
No, you can have your own booze if you have your own sleeper.
Yeah,
Which
that too.
We had we thought we'd have a problem with some wealthy to-doer with their hoity-toity.
Yeah, she's sitting there with her corgi, and she's looking at us like, and it's like, geez, get that smug look off your face. And she's got her dog up on the chair, and it's barking and misbehaving, and nobody said anything to her. And she had a sleeper car, and it's like, you can't take your dog with you just because you want to.
I do want to say, we saw a guy that reminded me of a friend of ours in Sacramento, and on top of
he
that,
was missing both his legs and one of his hands.
I
but
said a friend from Sacramento.
Oh, yeah. We also saw another guy that reminded us of
our uncle.
The red cap there reminded us of our friend Mike.
Anyways.
And then there was a guy that was on our train that sat next to us that reminded us of our Uncle Donnie. Looked just like him, and Donnie was an amputee too, and well, only in the last year, but we were like, wait, did he come out here and ended up losing another leg and stuff, and his family lied to us that he died, and his obituary wasn't right, and they moved him to Leavenworth to get him away, but it wasn't him.
I did find out it was interesting.
Just looked like him in every way.
It was just an interesting trip, and then we had a problem when Aaron's just like, let it go. But I had to ask the conductor because we paid for lower seating for Moppy, and you know.
Well, we didn't pay for it. We requested lower seating, and our tickets did not show that we had lower seating. And there was another guy from Ephrata who didn't really need the lower seating, so he ended up going upstairs, and there was a young punk who didn't need it, so they sent him upstairs. So we didn't have to give up our seat. Then they asked the young punk how he got the seat, and he just said, well, I asked for it. And so they gave it to him, and it's like, these seats should be reserved for people who can't handle the stairs. And although I could have handled the stairs, and Rita probably could have. They're narrow hallways, and I was afraid Moppy wouldn't be able to make it up, and I wanted to have my luggage nearby because meds for her and stuff like that. She's got a bladder problem, and going up and down and up and down and up and down the stairs. There was too much chance of her hurting her surgery, and she ended up hurting her surgery anyways because one of the doors closed on her.
Oh, yeah.
So anyways, we finally got in. We had to take a bus home, which was like 7 minutes after we got in, and that was kind of great anyway. So it was a driver that actually dropped us off right in front of our gas station here.
She's
but
the one
she
that
dropped
was,
us off at the Flower Basket.
She's also the one that was like, haven't seen you in a while. How you doing, girl?
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, oh, yeah, I'm fine. I'm really totally fine. So, you know. But,
So, anyways, that was essentially day 10. We got home. Oh, getting home. I had an interesting story. I walk into my place, and there was a place where I cut up a bunch of cigars before going. And it was all on a plate. And all these little pieces of tobacco were all over my counter. I'm like, well, how the hell did that happen? Somebody get in here? And then I'm walking around, and I go to open a window, and as I'm opening the window, I notice there's little white spots on my couch. I'm like, did somebody try to paint me here? And I'm looking to see if somebody painted, and no. So I go back into the kitchen, and I notice that the hood vent had fallen off, and I'm like, did somebody mess with the hood vent cover? It's laying on the stove here, and it's... You know, and then I noticed a few other things that seemed to be out of place, like a glass that was knocked over, a can that was knocked over. And I'm like, something ain't right here. And Moppy's kind of acting funny, too. So I'm like, I better go check to see if my storage area has been broken into because somebody's been in here. So I start to head out there, and there's a big bird about that big, which is still at my place. I put it out back. It's about that big, just laying right in the dining room, and apparently somehow it squeezed underneath the hood vent area to go down into the pipe that goes down into the stove vent and managed to bust out the vent cover, and the flapping of the wings was right there, so it ended up knocking the tobacco all over the place. And apparently it tried to fly to get away, and it crapped all over the place, and I had to clean all that up, and some of it I still got to get. There's some in Moppy's bed. So Moppy was upset about that, but I had an intruder in my place while I was gone. But other than that, everything was great, and so we made it back. I called 7-Eleven today to complain about that store, and the customer service representative that answered the phone was like, oh, our stores are all franchises, so they have a right to do what they want, and it's not our responsibility. I'm like, it's not your responsibility? Wait, the guy came at me with a baseball bat. This is the type of people you want running your businesses? You want somebody who attacks their clients? We'd also found out he basically was stealing from his customers as well. The woman who gave us a ride in the shuttle back to the airport, she was like, oh yeah, I went in there and he charged me on my card. Then he said my card was declined, and he charged me cash for it. And then I go back and I find out that my card was charged too. For the same thing, same price. So he double charged her for a pack of cigarettes. So, guy's unethical, and he attacks people. He's violent. And the guy on the customer service is just like, well, that's not our problem. We can report it to the store, and the store can do something. I'm like, he's the owner of the store. Oh, well, isn't there something that you guys could do? No. Really? You're going to allow this guy to continue having a franchise and making your store look terrible? Now I'm like, your customer service is horrible too. And then I used a foul word, and I'm like, pardon my French, and I'm like, you guys are worthless, and I hung up the phone on them. Now I'm going to write them because maybe I'll get to somebody who will actually pay attention, but I'm done with them. I'm not dealing with 7-Eleven, and if you happen to have a service dog and you're watching this, do not deal with 7-Eleven. I don't care if they've been good to you. Don't deal with them. Crappy. I don't care. They're a horrible, horrible business. Their customer service is horrible, and they promote discrimination against people. So if you happen to be a minority, don't deal with 7-Eleven. I'm sorry. They don't care about their customers, period. They just want your money.
So, with that said, please add and subscribe. Please post comments, leave feedback, suggestions. Thank you. May God bless you all, and enjoy every puff.